Hey there, welcome. We're going to make a bow today. I decided to do a bow tutorial separate from my regular tutorials, just to focus on the art of making a beautiful bow. So that's what this video is going to be about. If you are interested in learning how to make a bow, I would suggest that you get some scrap ribbon, something that you don't care about because you might make mistakes along the way, and then the ribbon will be crinkled. So just get a spare piece of ribbon, and after you watch the tutorial, just follow along with the tutorial to learn how to make a bow. Now, I'm going to show you the type of bow we're going to make today, and I'm going to discuss the basic composition or the structure of this bow. Now, every bow has a tail, and I always start off my bow making with the tail. That comes first, and then all of the loops follow, and then it ends with the tail. Now, every bow has a center line. That's what I'm showing you there. If I speak of 3 bows or 3 loops on each side, then I'm speaking of 3 loops on each side of the midline of the bow. So every bow has a center. This particular one has 3 loops on each side with larger loops. I always call that the base. And then on the other side as well, there are 3 loops of equal size. Then for this particular bow, which is a great bow for any wreath, I'm going to create a single loop on each side that rests on those 3 other loops, and then concluding with a loop right down the center, which finishes off the wreath, and everything is held together with a single pipe cleaner. And then, of course, I have the tail to match up with the other tail. So for this bow, you have 3 loops on each side. For the base, 1 single loop on top of the 3 loops on each side, and a single loop right down the center. So let's see how to create this bow. First thing I always want to consider when I'm making a bow is how large, obviously, of a bow I need for whatever particular project I'm working on. But firstly, I want to leave enough of a tail for that project. So if I'm doing a wreath with a long tail, I'm usually going to leave about 14 inches. And what I'm just going to do is pinch it at the 14-inch mark. Now, this bow making process is super easy once you understand the construction of the bow. So, for the first loop, now if you are new to bow making, you may want to measure your loops. So therefore, you may want to have a ruler underneath you, or one of these measuring mats, which is what I'm showing you. I have underneath my arms there. So you can just simply place down your ribbon. Now, we're going to make these loops 12 inches. So I fold over my ribbon. And now I'm going to, in the center, that's going to be my center where my thumb is there. I'm going to pinch that. And after I pinch it, I'm going to press my thumb down and hold it with my index finger underneath. And I'm going to hold that very firmly. And then I'm going to continue to hold all of my loops right there in the center. So I have my 14-inch tail. I have my 12-inch loop on the left side. Now, you're going to have to twist this ribbon. Most ribbons have a good side. So you're going to twist. And now you're going to take that piece of ribbon there, measure it out if you need to 12 inches. Place your finger at the 12-inch mark, fold it over, place it underneath your thumb, and pinch it all together there in the center. Now, in the pinching process, if you will, I use both of my hands. You'll notice, and I'll show you that again, but when I'm pinching my ribbon in the center, I'm using both of my hands, fingers on both of my hands to do that. Now, to make sure that you're getting your loops symmetrical, you can just press them together like you just saw me do. So now I have one loop on each side. Remember, the midline of the bow is where I have my hand. Now, we're going to twist that ribbon because we need for the good side of the ribbon, or the printed side of the ribbon, to be facing up when I fold over my loop. If you want to, go ahead and measure 12 inches. Now watch how I pinch it. Place my thumb down, and then I take my other hand and pinch. Gather it up and stick it underneath my thumb. You see how I did that? Now also see how I'm checking myself. If you don't want to measure, once you learn to make this bow, you can do this without measuring. You'll just be able to eyeball it. Okay, so we have 2 loops on the left side. Now what do we want to do? We want to twist our ribbon. Now as you go along, you're going to have to flip your spool because it's going to get twisted. So we're going to twist that ribbon now because we want to have the right side of the ribbon facing up when we fold over that 12 inches. And again, I'm checking myself. Place it down in the center, press my thumb over it, take my other hand and scrunch up that ribbon and then stick it under my thumb. So that's how I'm holding all of those loops. So we have 2 on the right side, 2 on the left side. Holding tightly in the center. Now we're going to do our 3rd loop on the left side. So I twist my ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and show you. You can measure it if you like. Pinch that area so you know where is that point where you're going to pinch the ribbon in the center. Put my thumb under it with my other fingers. Push it in there, scrunch it up, and place it under my thumb. Now, if I need to adjust my loops, very easy to do at this point. Either you pull the ribbon forward like you see me doing. I'm matching it up with all of those other loops on the left side. And you can also enlarge the loops by just pulling in the opposite direction. So at this point, you can still adjust your loops. Even if you've already pressed them down and pinched it, you can still adjust. All right, twist the ribbon. Now we're going to do the 3rd loop on the right side. So we're still using 12 inches for each of those loops. Pinch that so you know where that 12-inch mark is. Press it down in the center. Put it under my thumb. And then with my other hand, I pinch up that ribbon. Now I have everything all pinched together, if you will, right in the middle. 3 loops on the left, 3 loops on the right. Everything is symmetrical and even. And now I'm going to create that single loop that's going to just rest on the 3 loops on each side. So what do? I need to fold over my loops, so I twist my ribbon. Fold it over. Now I'm going to make this loop a little smaller, so I'm going to go around 10 inches on that. Pinch where I need to. Place it under my thumb. Take my other fingers. Squish it in the, scrunch that ribbon up in the center and put it under my thumb and hold it there. You see how that single loop just rests on the 3? Now we're on the other side. What are we going to do? We're going to twist the ribbon because we have to do that before we fold over the loop, or else we won't have the printed side of the ribbon facing up when we fold it over the loop. Going to take that same 10 inches, fold it over, place down my thumb with my Okay, I'm going to measure it. Place it down, scrunch it up with my fingers on the other hand. Now I have my single loop on each side resting on my 3 loops on each side. That's how easy it is. Once you understand the construction of the bow, you can make this bow. I promise you, you can do it. You might have to practice a number of times to get it down, but once you understand it, you'll perfect it with each bow. All right, now I'm going to take a full-size pipe cleaner. I'm going to place it right down the center, over my thumb, keeping all those loops together until I wrap that pipe cleaner around the back. I'm going to pull it really tight, turn the bow over, cross the pipe cleaners, and twist. Okay, so now we have a majority of the bow all finished. We just have one important finishing touch, and that's a center loop that really finishes off a beautiful bow. And it's so easy to do. Okay, so now we're going to create that center loop. So I twist my ribbon. Always twist before you fold over any loop. Now we're just going to take that and roll it underneath. Watch, I'm going to roll it under and place my thumb on it to hold it. I want to say that's around 4 inches. I just wanted to measure it to get an idea. That's around 3.5 to 4 inches, that center loop. Fold it under, rolling it under basically. I'm going to show you again. Roll it under. Then take my thumb. I'm going to show you one more time, I guess. Roll it under. And then I'm going to put my thumb right on top of that. Now I'm holding that single loop. So what I'm going to do now is reach behind, get one of the tails of that pipe cleaner that I wrapped around the back there. And I'm going to bring it around and poke it through the center of that single loop. And this is going to, there I'm showing you, I'm pulling it from behind, poking it through the center. And this is going to hold everything all together. The center loop, everything will be then secure. Pull it around, bring it in the back, cross it, and twist it. This is a 2.5 inch wired ribbon. I'm always going to suggest with a large wide ribbon like this, a 1.5 inch or 2.5 inch, that you use a wired ribbon. This is what holds the shape of the loops, and it's very durable on a wreath or anything that you put it on. It's just a very durable type of ribbon, and it will hold its shape. Now we have this tail coming out the top after I folded over that loop, so I'm just going to pull the ribbon around and marry it up with the tail. Cut it off from the spool so I get an approximate 14 inches to match up with that tail that's already at the bottom of the bow. So I'm going to take that tail on the top, twist my ribbon, and I'm going to take that tail on the top and poke it right through that center loop. I give it just a little fold to make it smaller or less wide. Poke it through, take my other hand, pull it through, and now I am marrying up that tail with the bottom tail, and we have a beautiful bow. You're always going to find that any burlap ribbon is the best. The best ribbons to use are ribbons that have a stiff fabric, but always, always, always a wired ribbon. Now, of course, on very narrow ribbons, you don't have wiring, so that's a whole different type of bow making. But for the sake, especially of wreath making, or you could make this bow is beautiful for a gift box or for a Christmas tree bows, a swag, anything like that. This bow is perfect. And it's really that simple. So I'm going to suggest that you get some practice ribbon, play this video back from the beginning, and follow along with me, because I didn't speed this up. I left it at a slow pace so you could follow along with me. If you don't get it right the first time, that's okay. Start over. Just use some practice ribbon. Keep doing it until you get it, the basic design down. And I promise you, you're going to be so thrilled when you can make a beautiful bow like this. Now, this is a basic bow. I do mixed ribbons. I have more advanced bow tutorials I'll do in the future. But this is a beautiful bow. And to achieve this, again, I promise you, you'll be very happy. Let me know in the comments if you try it and how successful you were.